Hotep Salam. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this week's episode of my podcast. And without any further ado, we are going to talk about season 2, episode 3 of Solo Leveling. So, this season so far, Solo Leveling has been really good. Like, a lot of action, a lot of revelations, a lot of interesting bits here and there. And this episode is no exception, right? The episode starts with Jinwoo and Jinho. God, everybody in this show has the same name. But yeah, we have Jinwoo and Jinho who are basically raiding a dungeon. And as they are raiding a dungeon, Jinho sort of realizes that he's not very useful to Jinwoo because Jinwoo can pretty much handle business all by himself. And that even leads him, when they go and eat, that leads him to tell Jinwoo, hey, you don't have to like drag me around. I don't have to be a burden to you. If you feel like I'm not useful to you, you can just let me know, and so that I can move to the side. And Jinwoo is like, oh no, I like you. I like having you around. You're actually quite resourceful and useful to me, and all that. And then you know, Jinho basically confides to him and tells him that he feels rejected by his family. He doesn't feel rejected, he is rejected by his family. His father doesn't think much of him, his brother too doesn't think much of him, and that pains him. And Jin, who basically tells him, oh no, me, I value you, I respect you, and I view you as a little brother. And of course that makes him super happy, and that validation, that respect that Jinwoo gives him also enables him to grow the confidence to be able to step up to his parents. Because when he goes back to his family house and he goes to see his dad, and he tells his dad that he wants to be more involved in the family business, and initially his dad is like, what are you talking about? No one here cares about you. You are good for nothing, and we do not value you. So what do you mean you want to be more involved in the family business? That makes no sense. But then he doubles down and he tells his father, Dad, I really want to do this. I really want to involve myself in this. And so his father basically gives him a challenge. Okay, since you want to be involved in the family business, since you are aspiring to be the master of our guild, I have a challenge for you. You have to recruit Sung Jin Woo to our guild, right? Because his father has realized that he is very acquainted with Sung Jin Woo, and they seem to be close. And that's this Sung Jin Woo guy. It seems like the stakes are rising. He's gathering more attention and more eyes, and people are starting to realize that he might be a big player. So a lot of guilds, whether it be the White Tiger Guild or other guilds, want to recruit him. And so Jinho's father is like, if you're able to bring him in, I'll give you the chair if you want to. And Jinho takes on the challenge. So that's going to be very interesting because, like I said, there are other guilds that want to recruit Sung Jinho. One of them being the White Tiger Guild, and they even went to Jinho's house to look for him, but obviously he wasn't around. They were probably coming to see him and tell him about how they want to recruit him because they feel like he's really good. But in a conversation that Jinwoo had with Jinho, he told him that he'll be away for a few days. And so if he tries to reach out to him and he's not available, it's no big deal, right? During the episode, we find out that he's going to raid the Cerberus dungeon. And he's raiding the Cerberus dungeon because if he's able to succeed, he'll be able to gather all three items. And those three items will allow him to put together this formula, this potion, and that will help him treat his mother's illness. Because if you remember, the entire reason why Jinwoo is a hunter in the first place is because his mother had some strange disease, some strange sickness that caused her to be hospitalized. And Jinwoo had to step up and provide for him and his little sister, and also be able to cover the hospital bills of his mother. That's the whole reason why he's a hunter in the first place. He became a hunter to be able to provide for both of his relatives. This brings us to the fact that so far in the story, we've only been introduced to two of his relatives. We know that Gino has a little sister, Jinha, and we know of his mother. But then we've never heard anything about his father. We don't know what his father is up to. We don't know if he's alive, if he's around. We don't have any information about his father. Well, we didn't have any information about his father, but now we do have some information about his father, because in this episode we are introduced to his father, Mr. Song Il Hwan. Initially, we see him at the beginning of the episode, and it seems like he's lost. And then we later realize he basically gets arrested and taken into custody. We are being told that he was basically trapped in a gate, and he's been trapped in the gate for about 10 years. Him being trapped in a gate for about 10 years, that explains why he's not been present in his children's life, etc. And that also explains why Jinwoo is the one who has had to step up to provide for his family. But then it seems like he's been able to make it out of that trap. And then when he resurfaces, for whatever reason, he comes out of a gate in America. We find out that he's in America. And when they take him into custody to interrogate him, because of the language barrier, they decide to bring in someone who also speaks Korean so that the person can conduct a proper interrogation. And guess who they bring in? No other than Hwang Dong-suk, right? And then Hwang Dong-suk comes in with an attitude, like Hwang Dong-suk's character. He is very quick-tempered. He's very irritable. So when he comes in, he even expresses the fact that he was having fun somewhere, and they called him to come and sit here. So he's already in a bad mood. In addition to his very, very, very irritable persona, he sits down and he has no patience for Mr. Sung. He's very disrespectful. And then when he realizes that Mr. Sung is Jinwoo's father, first of all, he tells him that his son is no longer. And why does he say that? He says that because the last time he heard of Jinwoo, Jinwoo was trapped in a gate, right? And Jinwoo being an E-level hunter, that basically implies that he has no chance of making it out of a red gate. So for him, Jinwoo is no longer. That's what he tells Mr. Sung. Basically, your son is no longer. And as both men keep interacting, the tension rises between the two of them and things heat up. And obviously, they eventually end up going at it. And quite surprisingly, Hwang Dong-soo gets totally run through. He gets his butt handed to him, which is extremely surprising because Hwang Dong-suk is an S-rank hunter. He's an S-level hunter. Not only is he an S-level hunter, we've seen in the previous episodes that he's strong enough to spar with other S-rank hunters, some of which are guild masters. So that means that at the very least he's on the same level with a guild master, at least in Korea. But he got completely run through by Mr. Sung. It seems like Mr. Sung just ate him alive, which implies that Mr. Sung is a very, very, very strong hunter. And if he's a very strong hunter, why haven't we heard from him so far? Because if he is able to do that, then that implies that he's one of the strongest hunters in Korea. Does that mean that maybe he wasn't all that strong, but he gained those powers during that 10-year hiatus, basically during those 10 years where he was quote unquote locked away, right? But then I don't know, we are told that S is supposed to be the highest level for hunters. But if you can, I don't know if there's a level above S. I feel like if there's a level above S, Mr. Song should be in that category because he was able to dispose of an S rank hunter so easily. That kind of implies that he's like in a league of his own. So far, I think so far this is the greatest demonstration of strength that we've had in the whole show. To be able to manhandle such a strong fighter like this. So now I'm excited to find out more about Mr. Sung. Like I want to know what's his backstory, what are his abilities, what is he able to do, what is his relevance in the story, because a character this strong has to be relevant in a way, at least in a certain way. So I'm really, really, really curious to see what they're going to do with the character of Sung Il Hwan. I'm really, really intrigued. So we'll see.